Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Harsh Arora, a partner and business unit leader at Kelley Kronenberg, where he heads the business law practice and maintains his primary office in Fort Lauderdale. Harsh concentrates in the areas of business litigation and complex domestic and international corporate transaction matters. Harsh, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. It's a pleasure.
Yes, we greatly appreciate your time. A couple of quick legal disclaimers. One, Harsh is in the state of Florida. If you are not in the state of Florida, please seek legal counsel where you are. He is not dispensing any legal advice on today's podcast. And a special thank you to financial advisor Robert Lehman for introducing us. Harsh, let's go back in time a little bit. What inspired you to go to law school in the first place? You've got kind of an interesting background.
Right. So I get asked about my background a lot and how I ended up becoming a lawyer because law is my second career. I started off in business. And so obviously it's not by chance that I'm a business attorney. Because first of all, I entered the business industry, specifically hospitality industry. So I have varied experience in hospitality industry, real estate, and healthcare, and that translates into what I do today as a business attorney. So I spent about 10 years of my life initially in these different industries, mainly focusing in hospitality management, and then transitioned into law. And pretty much as being in hospitality industry, it's a service industry. You're serving folks in different areas within the hospitality and leisure sectors. And one compliment that I always received is that you're precise and that you analyze things and you present things well. And so those things sort of stayed with me. And then I got an opportunity to shadow a lawyer and a judge after I immigrated to the United States and got exposed to the system here, which was very impressive to me. And then I went to law school and never turned back, and I have remained a lawyer for over 14 years now.
Well, congratulations on that and an incredible journey. Talk a little bit about what you do at Kelley Kronenberg.
So I had the business law practice. We do both business litigation and corporate commercial transactions, both internationally and domestically. So anything that you can think of in simple terms, dispute that business owners have, either in court or out of court, we help them resolve those disputes. And anytime businesses are thinking about wonderful things such as mergers, acquisitions, getting bought out, and or buying other businesses, we help them with that. So we are fierce negotiators for our business clients.
I know it's going to vary, but who is an ideal client? Is there a specific size of business or industry that you work in?
No, so we don't have a size limitation as to who we can serve. We serve startups to publicly traded companies, and we have the capacity and bandwidth to do that with efficiency. And so anyone that wants help just starting out, that they have just set up and or they have a vision, we can help them start a business of course, they're going to have their own business plan, but from legal standpoint, structuring them in a way that will be efficient for them tax-wise, and from legal liability standpoint, we can help them with that. And as they mature and grow, and potentially want to, publicly be listed, we can help them through the life cycle of growing, and potentially sometimes things happen where you have to close down your business. So we are also involved in the end of this business life cycle, where we can help businesses liquidate and close shop if need be.
Or transition to the next generation, hopefully.
Potentially, and that's many times what serial entrepreneurs do. They close a business for a reason and transition into a new business. Many times that results from either a sale of all the assets to another business, and or morphing out of some sort of acquisition, and then we're restructuring and setting up a new business for them.
What are some of the biggest mistakes, obviously, you see business owners making when it comes to protecting themselves?
So one of the most common theme that we see throughout small businesses and big businesses is not paying enough attention when it comes to planning for the future. And although you might think that big businesses have resources and they can plan very well because they have the monetary backing and they have the service staff to help them through it, but unfortunately, it's not as common as we would like to see it. So a lot of my practice is involved with preventative counseling, and I'm a proponent of structuring things right to prevent legal issues later on down the road. And so the common theme is that folks do not really pay attention to the intricacies of contracts, and that's the heart of any business transaction and or dispute, that you need to have good, solid contracts. And based off of that, you can either have a wonderful transaction and great money-making venture, and or that could result to a complete downfall when you don't have good, solid contracts that could lead to disputes and pretty much result in potentially bankruptcy at times.
Today's world, it seems like, let's say the credit card processors, the merchant processors are so heavily weighted in favor of the consumer as opposed to the business owner or the merchant. What do you say to, let's say a business owner says, I mean, I have this 14-page contract written by highly priced lawyers, but it doesn't stop somebody from charging back anyway their transaction. And then I got to fight, and the contract doesn't just solve the problem. I still got to fight for my money. How do you deal with that? How do you help with that?
So believe it or not, there are a lot of disputes of not just small amounts, but collectively they become, like you said, big sums that businesses struggle with. So we have had experience dealing with similar issues, but again, it boils down to that contract, right? So if you have right terms and there are disputes that arise out of it, guess what? If you're going to submit a dispute and or a credit card company is involved with the resolution of that dispute between the consumer and the business, they're going to look at that contract. And if you have good terms that provide enough protection where the chargebacks, weren't proper for one reason or the other, and business was entitled because they've either rendered services and or delivered products that they're entitled to the money, most likely the merchant processor will basically have a decision favorable to the business. So they can pretty much avoid going to court and or going to some other sort of dispute resolution mechanism like arbitration, and save a lot of legal fees and costs, which are unnecessary because now they got a decision that is in their favor. And potentially if the consumer takes it to a consumer attorney that potentially wants to take it to a different level, maybe like, go to court, when that attorney for the consumer is going to look at that contract, he or she will see that the provisions actually protect the business. And even if they were to go to the next level, that they might not have a prevailing hand. So there you go. That's how you protect yourself, by having solid provisions in a contract that can, just not be good for these disputes, but later on stopping another party from going to the next level and draining a business more of its resources. Versus letting the business keep those monies and reinvest in themselves and grow more than they should spend.
Absolutely. You've been a part of many interesting transactions in deals over the years. Obviously, your client identities are confidential, but can you share like a hypothetical case without disclosing their names of some of the more interesting transactions you've been involved of?
So, well, the transactions vary in different industries. Interesting as far as, my area is concerned, interesting comes in form of monetary values, right? So 100 million transactions might be, very interesting and attractive in a certain industry or space. And so we see a lot of interesting technology-based transactions that to us is exciting, because we know that our world is changing because of our global economy, and technology can actually do a lot of good for various industries, not just one. So talking about technology, when we see through this pandemic, we did several transactions where technology basically has changed the landscape of many of these industries. And without, of course, I cannot disclose the extent of what that technology was because of the confidentiality obligations that I have for my clients. But basically, some of those transactions have changed, like I said, just complete industry, whether it be workforce or healthcare. And so with healthcare, we know that pandemic has pretty much propelled telemedicine. And a lot of stuff that we used to think, well, we're going to just have to go to the doctor for something small. And folks were not just, okay with it because they just weren't used to the technology. Like you and I are having this through video, a Zoom platform. Folks were just not ready for it, but pandemic forced us all to be ready. And so similarly, a lot of, let's say, counseling that was done, and I'm talking about just, therapy, psychological therapy, et cetera, that you'd have to go waste time for 2 hours or 3 hours to your therapist's office. Now you could easily do this over Zoom, where the therapist can see, a patient, and necessarily they don't have to diagnose you with anything. You're just having like a session talking to your therapist, and now that can easily be done. And within what technology permitted is basically keeping everything, HIPAA protected, meaning that all this information is going to be very well protected, where no one else, third party, can come and view, and only the participant and the physician can, or the therapist can participate in that session. So again, without giving the details of the transactions, these are some of the transactions that I'm proud of that we did that have actually now changed the industry or industries. I mentioned healthcare and technology, and I think that I'm excited to see what the future will hold, and if we're going to ever go back. So one of the important thing about, some of these transactions is that we looked at these transactions as we got them done with a different eye, because pre-pandemic lawyers were looking at these transactions in a way that, not thinking about that there could be pandemic or something else that could come about that could just completely change, and we would have disputes over things that we didn't think that we would have disputes over, on issues of impossibility, et cetera. So we looked at transactions and we closed these transactions thinking about the unthinkable, and incorporating them and envisioning if after close the revenue targets are not met because the consumers don't adopt to this new technology, et cetera, that how can we sort of unwrangle and resolve if a dispute comes out. So we incorporated those issues that you can obviously imagine were normal for us lawyers now to think about and protect our clients. So I think that was something different that we did beyond just the regular due diligence of adding more innovative and creative ways for clients to effectively and efficiently resolve disputes if they were to arise because of the world that we live in now.
Absolutely. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
So I have always been a problem solver, and being a business attorney just gives me that opportunity so much more, and to help people and see the results is fascinating. So, and I love that about my job, where it's not just one litigation. It's about, making sure that we resolve that litigation or arbitration, and then structure back the client in a way that the client is back making money. I serve clients that are interested in making a lot of money, and they are making money. And of course, I serve nonprofits as well, and they have their own objectives and missions to do good for our society and where we live and work. But for most of the for-profit businesses, just seeing them grow and bringing them out of a mess like a litigation, et cetera, that is better company type litigation where they can just completely go out of business and have them flourish after that, is completely rewarding to me. And I consistently see that. And I'm proud of the work that my team does in that regards, and making sure that the clients understand and benefit from our ongoing preventative counseling that we do, even pre-litigation, post-litigation, and consistently as we serve them.
For our folks who are watching or listening, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you?
So Kelley Kronenberg, where I lead my practice, is a full service firm. We have a comprehensive website at kelleykronenberg.com. So I invite all viewers to actually go to our website. They can reach me directly at H Arora, which is H and then my last name, Arora, at kklaw.com. Or my clients always have access to me directly. So I freely give out my cell phone number, which is 305-367-1625. Folks can contact me if they have any questions or queries about, where they might be in their business life. We're happy to help and be of assistance.
All right. Well, we know your time's incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. This has been Seth Greene with Harsh Arora of Kelley Kronenberg. Harsh, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks again to Bob Lehman for the introduction, and we will talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.